Mega Mike here, CHIP FM 101.9 on your dial. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I got something special for you right now. I've got Mr. Samuel Agnew from TV Head, and he has a massive release coming out. Just released their first single, and I have him on the phone to chat with us right now. Hi Sam, how you doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Can't complain. Nobody listens.
That's all good.
So I got to ask you first thing here. TV Head. Where did the name come from?
Honestly, I think it was just something that was kind of in my 13-year-old mind when I started doing this project. I was just kind of I've always been kind of into like weird kind of found footage horror, and I really like kind of the whole aesthetic of VHS tapes and like the CRT TVs for promotion, just like because I've seen some bands do that, and I kind of thought that it sounded cool for it. So it really just came from me being silly, and I thought it was funny when I was 13, and it's just kind of stuck since.
Well, it's a unique name. I dig it. I gotta admit, and I like the kind of analog, old school approach you said that, how you described that there with like the found footage and stuff like that, going back to like the originals of like Blair Witch and all the bizarre movies of that nature.
We actually used Blair Witch for one of our show promos last year. It was pretty fun.
Oh, nice. That's beauty. Okay, so you mentioned there, 13 years old, naming the band. So this has been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been doing this project kind of officially since I think very late 2020, and I released the first kind of EPs for it, like I think beginning of 2023 is when the first one came out. So yeah, but I've been doing it for a lot longer than that.
So give us a rundown on what's coming out. Like how many songs? What's your vision of this?
So the album is called The End of the Beginning, and it comes out on April 25th. And it's 8 songs long, and a lot of them are kind of around like the 4-minute-ish mark, but they're mostly instrumental, kind of as our past few EPs have been. But we have a few guest features for vocals on this one. We have NKWM, who is a local Pembroke artist, and then we have Levi Post, who is in like every Pembroke band. He's in Pantomime, he's in Post, he's in Gatlin Black, he's in Randa's band, yeah, and this album's been a very long time coming. I started recording this even before our second EP, Tales from the Static, came out, and I worked on it, kind of the bulk of it, this last year, but I've been writing songs for it for way longer. So yeah.
So it's really been a labor of love for you with this whole project.
Yes, I've been working on this for a very long time. Yeah.
And us as musicians, we're a picky bunch, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. I say this to people when I was recording this. There's 8 songs on this album. I think I have 8 that I scrapped just because I didn't like them. But yeah, I wanted this album to be really good. So.
Well, I've taken a few listens to the first track you've released now, Forecast of the Nation, and I got to say it's off the top of my head, it's got a real nice proggy feel to it. Like it definitely shows your musicianship in the way you've designed and written this song, but it also has a very unique feel to it. And I got to say too, and this is a hard run for you, and I will applaud you for this 110%. Is releasing an instrumental track is a gamble, because people, usually identify with words versus music, but I think you guys have laid down something so solid and so creative that you're going to get the attention even without words on all the songs.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that song in particular, I kind of, when I wrote that riff, I kind of was like, I really want this to be like the first thing people hear when I start promoting this album. So I really do like that song. And you're totally right. Instrumental music is like, it's a very, very hard sell. Even when we were getting started, it's just like playing shows in kind of the valley. We actually opened for like a country cover band was our first show at Legends. It was a Doghouse. Because the drummer of that band is my buddy Didier Renault, who is a local. He's in that band, but he's been in a lot of other bands. But he is a very long time friend of mine, and he helped me record our first 2 EPs. So he asked me if I wanted to do it, and we did it. And I don't know if the country crowd was super into it, but I had a good time. So yeah, but I totally get what you're saying. Instrumental music is like a very, very, very hard thing to market, and I've been very, very surprised with the reception we've gotten at our recent shows. So.
Well, bottom line too is, quality music is quality music, whether there's words or not. When people listen, if they dig what they're hearing, they're going to want more.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned Didier. That I totally pronounced it wrong, I'm sure. But can you list me off like everybody who's been involved in this particular release?
So with this album, I've had, for the most part, this album has actually been mostly me. This was the first time that I actually decided to mix and master this album too. DJ, he actually helped me originally like learn how to do that, and he was the one that gave me a copy of Logic Pro around when TV Head was formed, and he sent me down this whole rabbit hole. So he would give me pointers, and I would gladly oblige. So I mixed and mastered this, but apart from that, I recorded the drums for this album at his studio, and you'll even see in the credits if you go on Bandcamp, it was recorded at Did's basement in Pembroke. I recorded it New Year's Day this year, I think. I'm pretty sure. But apart from him, I said NKWM, who he is like probably one of my favorite artists in Pembroke, and he's got his own stuff coming out, I think, next week, and he has a few EPs out, but it's more kind of in line with the kind of the 90s Midwest emo stuff mixed with the 2000s kind of scene kid music, but it's on acoustic guitars. And then Levi has been in he did like Olika in 2022, and then he did the Pantomime EPs, and he was on Jake Weckwerth's first two EPs, and then I think he was on Randa's album. He's just a really, really, really cool guy. But he's also helped me put on a lot of the local shows we've done at Legends, especially like the last two. He was a really, really big help in getting those set up. But yeah, and then kind of apart from that, I used a lot of the gear that I used was borrowed from just kind of friends, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. But there are a lot more people that I could go on about, but those are, I think, the integral people for this album.
Well, I got to give you kudos, man, for taking over 99% of the duties, musicianship and production wise. That's a large undertaking. I've personally recorded one of my band's albums in my own studio and mastered it, and learned as I went too, watching lots of YouTube videos and talking to people that were further along in that kind of journey than me. And it's a large undertaking, especially if you're playing everything. But also, if you're playing everything, there's nobody to argue with you.
That's exactly, and that's why I love this project so much. Is that's part of the reason why it took so long. Is if I hate a detail, I can obsess over it for forever, and I don't have like a bunch of people telling me, "Oh, my guitar is too quiet." It's like I can just do it how I want it, and that's actually part of the reason why it's taken so long to release. Because I had this album done, I would say, like kind of almost fully recorded, very late 2024, but I was very, very kind of obsessive over how I wanted it to sound when I mix it, because I kind of know what I like when in albums, and I'm pretty proud of the result. But yeah, it's very much like it's kind of nice sometimes being like a solo project, but yeah.
But then you also miss out on the camaraderie of being in a band, and external input of like things you might not have thought. That secondary ear can sometimes unearth the gold that you yourself are just kind of missing. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, when we play live, we have a drummer. He lives in Petawawa. His name's Morgan Pulio, and he does stuff at Legends all the time. He goes to the jam nights a lot and just kind of plays, but he is one of, I would dare say he's probably one of the best drummers in the entire valley, and he's only like 14 or 15, I think.
Wow.
He's crazy, but yeah, he's great. But I am in a few other bands with people, so I still get the camaraderie kind of there. But for TV Head, yeah, I slightly miss out on it, but when we play live, we have to kind of get along.
Well, this is your pet project. This is this is your personal little baby that, like you said, you can go all critical on the smallest little thing on it until you're happy. And like you said, based on the sounds you like, whether it's albums you love from other artists, or like you hear a snare sound and you're just like, oh, I love how that snare sound. I got to learn how to get that snare sound, that guitar sound, or whatever kind of dynamic thing you're trying to achieve. You're not backed into a corner by other people going, well, it should sound like this and it should sound like this. You're just like, you are the final decision.
Exactly, yeah.
And I got to ask you too with this. You're playing at Legends shortly.
Yes, I believe we're trying to set up some shows there in the summer, but we last played there on February the 1st, and we opened for Sun Junkies and Backseat Dragon, and then we played with that show with NKWM as well. Yeah.
Now, do you find you have problems, finding like the proper local like sounds in other bands for you to play with?
Well, since I started TV Head, the Pembroke scene has grown significantly. I remember whenever I live right now in Carleton Place, which is kind of just outside of Ottawa, but whenever I moved, this whole completely different scene just kind of popped out of nowhere, and you had bands like QWAN and like Post, and then also NKWM. They just kind of popped out of the blue, and they started putting on shows at Legends, and I love what they're doing like a lot. Like QWAN is one of my favorite bands, and they're also just one of my favorite things about the Valley scene too, is it's just like you kind of have to get along with all the bands because it's just there's not like a whole lot going on, but everybody's just so supportive of each other. But yeah, I find since we're so close to Ottawa, I like bringing in bands from Ottawa just to Pembroke just to see what the shows are like down here, because I think we're slowly gaining a little bit of a reputation for having pretty crazy shows at Legends, especially when QWAN does their hometown shows. They're pretty wild. But yeah, I like I think for what we have in Pembroke, I think we're very, very lucky in terms of especially the genre we play, just kind of like alternative emo stuff. There's not like a whole lot in Pembroke in regards to that, but all of those bands are just like super great about doing shows together. And yeah, and we're all I love like a lot of the Pembroke bands. We're very, very fortunate.
Well, I gotta say, man, I love hearing anybody talk about the Pembroke scene in such a positive way, and the camaraderie between the bands. Like, doesn't matter the genre, whether you're playing rock or, like you said, emo or country or metal or whatever. There's a general like community support behind all these different bands going out to this thing. And Legends, like I started booking for Legends at the beginning of 2024, and when I went in there, like I was aware of everything like you were mentioning there, like Levi putting on these awesome shows, and I had the full intention, and still follow it to this day, that we're trying to bring in more independent acts. And that's nothing against any of the cover outfits or anything like that. They are a necessity within the entertainment world. Because you can have your fans that want to come out and hear songs they know and just party and have a good time, and that, like I said, that's a necessity. But then you also have your music lovers like you and me, and like Levi and all these other people that crave that indie. They want that new, they want that fresh, they want something they can identify with.
Exactly, and that's why I think a lot of people were. QWAN is kind of an anomaly in the just Ontario scene in general, because with QWAN, they whenever they played here, I think it was a few years ago, they played here with Junko Daydream and Polluted, who are just kind of Southern Ontario bands, but they got invited to go play at I think it was Groget's Living Room in London, which was like a house venue. And nice. Since then, they've played all over Ontario, and they're about to go out on tour with I think it's Jewel Tone at the time of us recording this. I think they're playing in Toronto and London this weekend. So they're kind of an anomaly in the Pembroke scene, but I think the reason why they've done so well is just because they're really different from a lot of the stuff that's come out. Because whenever they released Kitsch in 2022, and that was kind of even before I think Levi had released Olika. So it was just like, what are all these crazy guys from Pembroke doing? Because they recorded that in like their garage, and then just put it out, and then started just playing at like Lasso Live and a bunch of places. So it was just really, really refreshing to hear just like a new sound out of Pembroke than like fiddle music and stuff like that. But
you gotta love that DIY ethic, eh?
exactly, yeah, that's what I'm all about. I love that stuff.
Oh, same thing with me. I've just gone over the dark side. I just bought a Mac system, gonna start learning Logic. I've been a Pro Tools guy all my life, but I'm finally stepping up and seeing what I can do with it, and I'm meeting a lot more people that are recording on Logic and things like that, and getting amazing results.
I love Logic. It was like a life-changing tool for me when I discovered how to fully use it. And yeah, I've been a Mac guy for actually basically my whole life. I think my parents had one kind of around when I was born, and I kind of have just always been using them. So I really like Logic Pro, though. I think you're gonna really enjoy what you find. I'm not
heading towards a brutal learning curve, am I?
Oh no, it's if you know how to use Pro Tools, I think Logic will be pretty easy for you.
Good to hear. So I gotta say, what is the plan for this album? Like, do you plan on being able to, like, obviously you plan on taking it into Ottawa, you want to bring it into the Valley, like, are you aiming for Kingston, are you aiming for London, North Bay and beyond, or like, what are you thinking?
So I'm hoping to do this summer like at least a couple shows kind of around the area. So I'd love to hit Ottawa and then Pembroke again, and then I'd love to finally make it up to the GTA, because I've been told by my friends down there that we have like a small fan base. So I've gotten a few messages from my friends down there who've asked if we want to, when we're coming down. So I really want to finally hit the GTA and play some shows there. But I'd also really love to, for this album cycle, I really want to open for like a slightly bigger band than us, like if they come through like Brass Monkey in Ottawa or something. But and yeah. I have a little list, but yeah.
Oh, dude, we all have a list. Yeah. I've knocked a couple off mine actually, and not always intentionally. One of my old bands, Blackwater Brigade, opened up for a couple of the Street Struts in Cobden.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we got to open for Big Wreck, Platinum Blonde, and then I don't know if you remember, there was the John Street Pub in Arnprior. It's not there anymore.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we did an opening slot for Jeff Martin there. Got to meet him in the whole 9 yards, and so it's like, it's cool to have those names on your resume, eh?
Exactly, yeah. The dream right now, I'd love to open for, there's a band from Massachusetts that I've been really, really into lately called Fleshwater, who are very, very, they're kind of more like post-hardcore, like kind of shoegazy band, nice. But they're big enough where they could probably sell out like a venue in Ottawa, but they're still like small enough where I think it would be viable if we were able to open for them. So that's the dream, but we'll see if that actually goes through.
Hey, dude, you gotta have dreams. And it's cool you mentioned that there, because me and my buddy Jay went down to the Dom in Ottawa to see 1,000 Mods. Oh, cool. They had a band from, I want to say Michigan, called Freedom Hawk, that opened for them, and I literally saw their set and like went over the merch table right after, bought like 3 CDs and then been listening to them since. And they're like a heavy Black Sabbath influence kind of stoner rock metal, like kind of meld kind of thing. And I heard them and I was like, yeah. I'd love to open for those guys. Absolutely love to open for those guys.
One other band that I had a very similar situation recently. I went down to Toronto to see one band that's been a very, very big influence on me in my writing for this album was this band called Under Oath, who they're they're more kind of like the 2000s emo-y sounding band, but they recently had the 20th anniversary of their album from 2004 called They're Only Chasing Safety. And that album, I think, has been one of the biggest influences on me just as a musician, even for like guitar and drums. So they did that entire album front to back, and I went to History in Toronto to go see that with a buddy of mine. And their opening band was this band from, I think they're from Leeds in England, called Static Dress. And they, I had listened to them kind of like a bit before just to see kind of what they sounded like. But when they came out on stage and they tore the roof off the place, and then they walked off. One thing I really loved about them was they do recently we've started incorporating into our set we have CRT TVs on stage, just
cool.
to play back videos from. I had always
good old
wanted
tube TVs.
Oh yeah, I got 2 of them for like $25 off a guy in Calabogie actually.
So basically, you're setting yourself up for hauling even more heavy ass gear.
Yes, exactly. It's my own fault. It's better than using giant cabs though. But yeah, I saw this band and they had the exact same thing. They had even bigger TVs than us and they had them on stage. And I had always really wanted to do it, but after I saw them, I really, really wanted to do it. So I've been listening to them at least like once a week since I saw them, and they're great. I would highly recommend, but yeah.
The visual aspect of creating your stage show is always fun, eh?
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite parts about TV Head.
And then you try not to go overboard, and you got to remain realistic, but you can get so many cool ideas.
Yeah, TV Head is still very much like a DIY kind of project. Like for this album, I've done. I think the only thing that I really got help with was the our recent promo photos that we did. I still do all like the album art and the and like the video we just did for Forecast of the Nation. I did that, and
nice.
I like being able to edit my own stuff and just making sure I'm into it. But yeah, I love doing the stage show for stuff, especially after going to see a lot of bands. I love being able just to pull certain things from their shows and put them into mine. But
well, you know, when you see a band that's got a good stage show and like a cool vibe happening, having stuff like sync to the music and, you know, hits time and stuff like that just adds more oomph to the presentation and it makes people just absorb the music better, I find.
Yeah, exactly. Which we have that we use when we play live. We have a like an in-ear monitoring system, and I play everything through Logic Pro, just because, especially since when we play live, we're only a 2-piece band. It's on our albums. I quad track a lot of the guitars, and I play a lot of lead parts. I have those playing off the computer, synced up to a video, and then I play a lot of the riffs just on my guitar, and then Morgan will play the drums. But having technology has come a very, very long way, and I've been really, really it's been very, very helpful for this band. So.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because actually my current band, Chi, I picked up a little Nux sampler pedaler, and I have a couple keyboard beds in it that literally play under a couple of our songs. One's an intro and one's basically a bed, and like I absolutely love this stuff that you can add essentially extra elements without adding extra band members.
Yeah, it's great. I love doing that.
And I'm assuming since you're doing that and you mentioned the IM, does that mean like live, do you have a click track in there?
We have a click track, yes. So we have I'll record those usually a little bit before the show, and then I'll send them out to Morgan, and I'll be like, here's the set list, you can just kind of learn this, and then I just say to him, like, let me know if you have any questions, and then I leave him alone and let him just kind of do his thing. But it also really helps out because when we play live, we don't actually have any real amps on stage. I run everything through main stage, and I use a lot of the plugins that I use in the album. So when we record the album, we use one plugin that was very, very helpful for this album. It's by Neural DSP. It's called Archetype Gojira, which they're a French metal band, and I think they just
I know Gojira.
Yeah, so they have a great plugin it's based off of a 5150, I believe.
Oh, nice.
But I use that very extensively for this last album, and I really love using that live. So I with the MIDI patch changes too, it means I don't have to do any pedal like tap dancing. It'll just kind of switch when I want it to. But yeah.
See, that's really nice for convenience, and it's interesting you mentioned the 5150 there. I'm an owner of a first generation 5150 twin.
Wow.
Yeah, thing weighs a ton, but the tone, just beautiful.
Yeah, I'd love to get like an actual 5150 one of these days, but we'll have to. That's later on.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a layout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the thing is that when I was still using my Pro Tools, I had a guitar rig in there, and they have 5150 emulators in there, and I can tell you, they sound exactly the same.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Especially now, Especially now too, since impulse responses came out, you can load your own impulse responses of like other amps, and then make them sound like kind of whatever you want. It's pretty crazy.
Well, it's funny because actually I just redid my rig, and I'm using a Line 6 HX effects pedal now, and I love dialing that thing in.
Yeah, that I really like doing that too.
Okay, you got the album now. What's the actual album release date?
So it comes out on April 25th of this year, and I don't really know why I picked that date. I think it was just kind of I wanted to get it out as soon as I can. But yeah, April 25th is when it comes out.
Well, you want people being familiar with the material when you're hitting the stage. It's always nice to hit people with stuff they've never heard before, but if there's a couple of songs they at least already kind of they're familiar with, it adds to the experience.
Exactly. Well, when we just did our last show at Legends, I thought it'd be really fun to play. I think we played like half of the new album for the first time for people. So we played Forecast of the Nation, which we had been playing at our 2024 shows, but then we played, I think we played Sound on TV, played Statues and the Rules for the first time, which is a brand new song. And what else did we do? I think we did, actually, I think that might have been it. We've only played like, I think 3 songs from the new album live, but I really wanted people just to hear our new stuff. I really like when bands do that, when they're on tour and they're like, okay, here's a bunch of new songs.
Oh, dude, that's sometimes that'll make a show right there. Even just one new song, like when you hear them up on the stage, like, anybody want to hear a new song? The whole place just goes, and you're just you're salivating. Yeah.
Well, in 2023, I saw Tom York and Johnny Greenwood's side project band, The Smile, at Blues Fest. And they played, I think, about their entire new album that just came out called Cutouts, and then their other album called Wall of Eyes. They played, I think, basically the entire thing before it came out, and it was really, really crazy just to hear all those songs. Just like it's just like these aren't they aren't on Spotify. It was just cool to hear them just kind of before they came out.
Well, and plus you get that impression too, that when you hear it live and then you hear the studio version, the studio version is going to have a certain, extra gloss and luster to it. But if they can pull it off live and still represent the song so well, even before people like even think about the studio version, that's accomplishment right there.
Yeah, and they sounded very, very, very close to the live versions I saw too.
Oh, sweet, man. Sweet. Okay. Well, we're going to play Forecast of the Nation for you here. Sam, do you want to throw the intro into it?
For sure. My name is Sam from TV Head. This is a song from our new album, The End of the Beginning, that comes out April 25th, and it's called Forecast of the Nation. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for your time, Sam. Have a good one.